Hello. In this video, I'm going to address a couple of common problems that you might run into when using the Virtual Crew Chief library with FoxVox. In this instance, you can see I've opened up a library, and you can tell that there's an issue because of the yellow indications on the push to talk on the voice command keys and also on the plugin. In this case, the first thing to do, let's go ahead and go to the plugin, and you'll see that there's an exception because it can't find the location for the BMS auto.key file. This will happen if your BMS installation is in a different location than where it was in the library. And that can be found in this parameter here on the plugin. So there's a FoxVox parser plugin that parses the BMS auto key file to find the controller settings that are used for the push to talk for the UHF, VHF frequencies, but also for the joystick positions for roll left, pitch forward, back, some of those controls as well. So what we would want to do here normally is create a direct path to wherever our BMS installation is, where it would find the auto key. But you can also just rely on a manual configuration. And sometimes the push to talk, even if you do find the configuration file correctly, may still be yellow because there's a little bit of discrepancy in finding all devices on Windows. Unfortunately, there's not a unique identifier that specifically can be used to tie a joystick controller between BMS and FoxVox. So it's relying on the name of the controller and the way it's being created in the key file, and it's not always 100% for every controller. So if that's your situation and you're finding that you can't bind the push to talk, what we're going to do here is, rather than resolve the plugin, we're actually going to just remove the plugin completely. That makes that error go away. And you'll notice that I still have an issue with the push to talk. So to get that resolved, what you want to do is select first all your UHF ground frequencies. And I'm going to click on here and show you what's happening is it's bound to the sim transmit com1 variable, which was defined on that plugin that we just deleted. So you can see it won't have a value. It doesn't know what that is. So we want to remove that and replace it with something else. So I'm going to select all my UHF communications. So that would be all of your ancillary support channels, but not your intra-flight communication, which is on your VHF. So go ahead and select all those. Click on the PTT, multi-PTT set, and then go ahead and trigger on your controller your UHF frequency button. Okay, and you'll see that that will set it manually to your UHF, and then go ahead and do the same for your VHF. Okay, so we have our UHF and VHF frequencies push to talk set correctly. And then there's one more thing to check. Let's go ahead and jump over onto the crew chief interactions. And then here you're going to see some nose down, nose up, roll left, right, yaw. You're also going to see some brake movements. These are going to have to be set manually the same way. So for example, on your roll left, we have it being set to a variable here. We're going to go ahead and delete that variable. We're going to add a joystick movement. And then pay attention when I move that axis, it starts at 50 and goes to 0. So we're going to click on here and we're going to set that range. And we're going to make it so it's, let's go down to actually around between 0 and 40. So now when I push left on my joystick, you'll see that it activates just within that range. Okay, and then you would go ahead and repeat that on the right. Delete, add, push the joystick to the right, and set your range on the right side. Do that at 60 to 100. Okay, so now I have my roll left, roll right. You'll continue to do that with your nose up, nose down as well. and do that with your yaw controls. If you're using foot pedals or if you're using keys, go ahead and manually bind those. And then the last you'll want to do is bind your toe brakes as well. So once you've bound all of those, don't forget, in order to use the crew chief, you need to engage the crew chief. So let's turn on the voice recognition. Engage crew chief. And you can see the crew chief is now engaged. Okay, so if you have a binding issue on start, it's really easy to bypass the plugin and just manually bind those yourself. So that's one way to get that corrected.